Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, and we are somewhere else. We didn't do a video yesterday because we were travelling, although it was quite interesting travelling because we saw a lot of these guys. These are bananas and the whole banana plantations. We had a very quick stop at a place to saw how they transported the bananas, which was by a little train, which was
You liked that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was man pulled or man hauled train, and we passed banana, as I said, pineapples. Oh God, there's so many.
Yeah, all the things you just pick up in Sainsbury's, and you never really think about where they come
Cassava
from.
was another one, sugar cane, and all that. But anyway, we're here, which is a place called La Fortuna, and apart from, we're actually in the garden of our lodge, and I must say these lodges are brilliant because you have your own little cabin within the gardens. You can probably hear some of the birds now. Okay, it's just gone 6 o'clock in the morning, but if I turn around, the main reason that people come here is that behind me, which doesn't look particularly impressive at the moment, but that is actually Arenal volcano. And that's one of the reasons that main reasons that people come here. There are lots of hot springs, geothermal springs and everything. And I'm trying to see, because this is one of the most active volcanoes in the world, in the top. Actually, that looks better. If I can come around that way. Did I catch that? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting the wrong part in the video, but it's there. Definitely, you have to believe
it's
me.
definitely there, and
we put lots of photos up. Yes.
Yeah, some of us get very excited about volcanoes. When we arrived, this is his happy volcano face. When we arrived, it's a bit like this morning. It was quite overcast.
Yeah.
So the volcano, which is literally right just there, was shrouded in cloud. Couldn't really see it particularly well. So anyway, we woke up yesterday morning, and I'm still clocking round.
5:30, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm still clocking round. My body clock's still clocking round. So I'm usually awake quite early. The dawn chorus here is amazing. The dawn chorus here is a howler monkeys and parrots, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I thought, you know, I'm just going to nip out in front of the chalet, little lodges, and see if we can see the volcano this morning. And there it was, at the end of the garden.
Nearly completely devoid of clouds,
yeah,
actually. So,
I'd like to point out, I had clothes on. I went back in the chalet. Andy was awake by then, said, you can see the volcano this morning. So Mr. Volcano whips out. He just had his underpants on. He's taking photographs of the volcano in all its glory, and you were in all your glory.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Your underpants.
And we went up to see it yesterday. We went up to the slopes because you can't actually climb. You can't see from here, but it's covered in rainforest, secondary rainforest. We were walking through actually. As I said, it's one of the 10 most active volcanoes in the world. Its major eruption was in 1968, July 1968. I got a bug on my leg, and it's one of those occupational hazards around here, which was an absolutely enormous eruption. And around here and around the town, around everywhere, there are huge boulders, because there are different types of volcanic eruptions which I won't bore you with, but this one just spews out rock, huge boulders of rock, and bombards everything in its course. Kilometers away from the volcano, were completely destroyed. This whole area was, and these boulders are the size of me, you, well, obviously there's smaller ones as well. They're absolutely enormous, and they're still around here. They're around the town, and they've made decorations out of them and things like that. It also went up again. Erupted. I'm trying to get the words. Too early, you know. Yeah. In 1992, and then they had what they called a pyroclastic flow, which is one of the most dangerous types of eruption, because it's basically just a gas cloud, a very, very hot gas cloud, as you can imagine. It just pours down the side of a volcano, literally burning and destroying anything in its path. So it's more isolated, but you get in front of that and it's just, you know, one breath and you're gone, because of the heat. You wouldn't know about it apart. And there's a great little sign down here which is actually to do with the lodges here, and it says it's sort of emergency exit, and I'm just thinking, yeah,
you're not gonna
I think it's more to do with here, like a fire exit rather than the volcano exit, but you get the point. But it was actually brilliant getting up there close, and while we were there, it actually, all the cloud went, and you could really see the detail on it, the way the lava's come down, the lava fields, and also at the top it's still steaming, because as I said, it is still active. I think they're classing it as being in a resting phase now, but next to it is its sort of elder brother, the name of which I've forgotten unfortunately, which last erupted in about 38,000 years ago, and has been there for like a couple of million years or something. That last exploded, as I said, 38,000 years ago, and that one that they're now classing as extinct. I mean, Costa Rica itself is very volcanic. There are 700, I think, 200 volcanoes along in the country itself, 20 of which are still active, which is quite something. And there's also a lot of earthquake sort of activity as well, because it's on what they call the Pacific Ring of Fire, with the whole way around the Pacific, because of the continental plates and plate tectonics and all that sort of stuff.
He loves this kind of thing.
It's
You're
brilliant.
a happy bunny, aren't you?
So there are volcanoes and earthquakes all the way around the Pacific, as you might have realised when you said, oh yeah, I know Japan and all that sort of stuff, and Hawaii and all this sort of stuff. So it's a very active area, and will be probably for millions of years. Once Arenal decides to go extinct, and probably another one will pop up just along there somewhere. So, and then we walk. Do you want to tell them about, while I've been talking about this, do you want to tell them about our walk through the secondary rainforest and all the little insects and stuff that we saw that you loved? She doesn't like spiders and snakes.
I'm in the wrong country. We have a brilliant guide with us who's with us for the duration of the tour, and he has fantastic knowledge about all the flora and fauna, and it's really interesting because I appreciate the architecture of plants and colour.
The ferns and that.
I wouldn't call myself a bird watcher particularly, but you kind of get caught up in it here, particularly when you have somebody pointing out things to you. So we set out on it's about a 6-mile trek through the rainforest.
It's getting heavy.
Going up as far as we could up the slopes of the volcano, and he was pointing out all sorts of things to us. So
how he saw some of them, I have no idea.
How he saw them, I have no idea, but really fascinating plants and birds. We're ticking off the bird list big time, aren't we? Just creatures
and also
you can't imagine.
Ants,
you know,
once again, it's all these David Attenborough modes, all the little leaf cutter ants going across in front of you, carrying the leaves. Some of them carry them on their heads and they actually have another ant on top of them. It's explaining all that. The soldier ants.
Lots of spiders.
Yeah, termites. I ate a termite. The idea, Alan, the guy.
I had a granola bar.
He said you can eat them. I thought, well, he said he sort of put his finger in the nest and ate one. He said, go on. I thought I'll give it a try. And as he said the other day, they actually taste quite woody. Depends what they've been eating as to what they taste like. They can taste minty. They can probably taste like pineapples for all I know. I don't know. So if you do get lost in the jungle, but make sure you get the right ones, because the soldier ants. God dear, he actually demonstrated, we will shut up in a minute, he did actually demonstrate the bite of a soldier ant, because they used to use them to heal wounds, like a stitching process, and he got it to bite him. Yes, it's not a particularly nice experience for the person being bitten, but he then pulls out the head or whatever, the body of the ant, leaving behind this almost like a staple across what would be a wound, and you try and pull that out, that is not easy. So anyway, so today, that was, I mean, it was just,
yeah, we didn't mention the sloth.
Well, I was going to try, and unfortunately the sun's coming up.
We saw one yesterday.
And you won't be able to see it. There's a tree over there which has got 2 sloths in it, and that's literally at the end of the end of the little pathway from our lodge there's a tree with 2 sloths, a squirrel and an iguana in it. And the other end we've got the volcano. It's just an extraordinary place, and every day is pretty extraordinary.
And the highlight not for me yesterday was the whole time we were in this rainforest, I'm looking up thinking, where's the snakes then? There's got to be a snake around here somewhere, because everything's kind of hanging down.
The vines and
Finally, just before we finished the walk, the guide said, we went, look over here. And we're all looking for this enormous snake, and it was this big. However, it could have killed us.
It can kill you more or less instantly.
This is why he was keen that we stayed on the trail.
Yeah, but it's a pit viper, an eyelash pit viper, absolutely unbelievable. Yes, and we saw another one not long afterwards. Yeah, it's a deadly place in lots of ways, volcanoes and animals
putting
and
our life
insects
in our hands bringing you this video.
But an extraordinary place as well, and I've no doubt it's a hummingbird. See? We'll no doubt speak to you from the cloud forest at Monteverde very shortly.
Bye.
See you soon. Buenos dias. No, that's the wrong one. Adios. You're getting it wrong. See, I told you it was early.